Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the digital asset investor, and the kid is off to school. I wanted to start this video with, well, first of all, you need to know I do have cinnamon in my coffee. You might hear it in my voice. Chinu Patel sent me several things this morning. This guy's hitting me like a machine gun this morning with information. Chinu Patel 29, he says, the first thing he sent me is this. I forgot to go over this. I think this all started these zero commissions. I think Charles Schwab was the first brokerage to announce the zero commission trades. Excuse me. And so this is kind of like a cascading effect. I noticed that I believe TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, and now Fidelity, after Schwab announced that they're all going to zero commission. I mean, that's a pretty significant thing, and it makes you wonder if this is all in response to losing customers from a slowdown or what. That's what it makes me think, is that what the timing of this just seems kind of interesting to me. But we'll go on. Okay, this is from BG at BGIRADJI. And I think this is in regard to the Bitcoin ETF that was rejected by the SEC. 112 pages summed up in one assertion. Disreputable individuals are operating in the Bitcoin market, and it is important not to send the wrong signal by supporting an ETP without the proper legal and regulatory framework in place to protect the public. That's probably true to an extent, but I still fall on the side of, well, yeah, it's not, we're not ready until all of a sudden we're ready. And I believe it's going to be someone that's far more connected than Bitwise or some of these random companies, VanEck and all this. It's going to be somebody, it's going to be a Goldman Sachs or a Morgan Stanley or a Merrill Lynch, Bank of America. It's going to be somebody. Bank of America wouldn't even be in the Wall Street Club. They're out of Charlotte, I think. So it's going to be somebody that matters when this thing happens. Just write that down, make you a note of it, and use it as a bookmark until this ETF finally is approved. And you'll see. XRP Research Center. This is a great advertisement, nice advertising spot from TransferGo. Send money from the UK to India. And in the commercial, if you watch it, it says runs on Ripple in the bottom right of the screen, right out of the gate. So it's worth you going and taking a look at. Okay, Nick Napier at Nick Napier 88 sent me this. This is a Forbes article. The U.S. government tried to shut down Bitcoin. This is something that I've never officially heard before, but I wanted to go down. I think it's to here. It says, now it's been revealed federal prosecutor turned Bitcoin and cryptocurrency expert Katie Haun was asked to look into shutting down Bitcoin by her boss at the U.S. Attorney's Office in 2012. They said, we have this perfect assignment for you. There's this thing called Bitcoin, and we need to investigate it, Haun told CNBC in a wide-ranging interview, adding a colleague asked her to take down Bitcoin. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Bitcoin. Over the next few years, Haun would go on to sit on the board of the U.S. Bitcoin and crypto exchange Coinbase and teach a class at the cryptocurrency at Stanford at Stanford Law School. Any serious attempt by the U.S. Department of Justice to shut down Bitcoin inevitably came to naught, with Haun saying it would have been akin to saying, let's go prosecute cash. I thought that was great. And that's a good thing, folks. Look, I don't even know if XRP would be where it is today if that wasn't the case. And so that's, we talk most of the times when you hear me talk bad about Bitcoin, it's because Bitcoin maximalists are throwing out challenges and they just can't challenge XRP. And so in the context of Bitcoin, if they want to position themselves, I don't want it to be Bitcoin versus XRP. I want Bitcoin to do well and I want XRP to do well. But if they come at Ripple and XRP, then I'm not going to ignore the obvious. I'm going to tell them, look, you guys, that's a joke. If you're going to try to compare yourself to XRP, there is no comparison. And we've gone over all those reasons. I don't have to keep rehashing that. But if the Bitcoin people were smart, they would leave that alone, quit attacking Ripple and XRP, and start saying the same thing Brad Garlinghouse says, which is, we're bullish on XRP too. It serves a different function than Bitcoin as its store of value, which is the only thing that it can be. Pump says this, the Bitcoin is the most transparent currency ever created. And then Mr. B says, not knowing who actually created it disqualifies it from most transparent right from its birth. And this is the type of thing that can't be argued. That is not transparency when you don't know who the creator is, and he owns I think 1% of the supply. No, not transparent. Okay, Michael Arrington. I just thought this was funny, so I thought I'd show you. Michael Arrington, who is like a guy that runs a hedge fund called Arrington XRP Capital. I guess he's trying to do it the nice way and go and apply for a Swell ticket the way everybody else does. I know they're going to reject me again, and I'm going to have to wash Brad Garlinghouse's car or something to get in. Thank you for your interest in Swell. Our events team is currently reviewing your invitation request and will confirm your registration shortly. The Ripple team. I thought that was pretty darn funny. Okay, now this is very interesting. This Tony Valentino guy just continues to intrigue me, and because of that, now look, I'm not saying I agree with just because I show you something that someone says on Twitter, it does not mean that I agree with everything that person says. It just means that I saw a tweet or a chart or whatever that I thought was interesting and intrigued me, and therefore I thought it might intrigue you and at least cause you to think about something, okay? Tony Valentino says, over the counter is done means bailout XRP to too big to fail banks and companies are done. Now we wait for the crisis or announcement which will trigger the rest of the world. They will all rush in looking to grab some XRP, most likely after IMF takes control of escrow. And he's tweeting out Alex Cobb's tweet, which Brad said recently that OTC sales with Ripple are basically done. So these big boys are now coming to the open market. Could that explain these random impulses we've been have been having recently, or is this just a coincidence? And then there's this. What this reminded me of, his tweet there, is what was sent to me by the official neighbor of the Digital Asset Investor channel, who's also a Mississippi State fan. This tweet is what he sent me the other day. New IMF chief Georgieva warns of synchronized slowdown in the global economy. And I saw that the other day, and I thought that was a strange wording. Synchronized slowdown. How do you synchronize an economic slowdown? Now, I was going to open this Reuters article, but every time I open it, it slows the computer down to a crawl. Some of these websites with their advertising is ridiculous. I used to have the same problem with Zero Hedge. Since I got the new computer, I haven't had that problem with Zero Hedge, but I had it randomly with this Reuters article. So I'm going to make an attempt to open it since we've got a new computer here, because there was a section I wanted to read to you. Hopefully my computer won't stop on me. This risk of complacency section. We are decelerating. We are not stopping, and it's not that bad. And yet, unless we act, now we're risking a potential more massive slowdown, she said. If a synchronized slowdown in world economies worsens, she said, the world may need a synchronized policy response along the lines of stimulus efforts enacted during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. She called for central banks around the world to maintain low rates where appropriate, but warned that this could prompt excessive credit growth, risky investments in search of better yields, leading to increased financial vulnerabilities. Our new analysis shows that if major downturn occurs, corporate debt at risk of default would rise to 19 trillion or nearly 40% of total debt in 8 major economies, she said. This is above the levels seen during the financial crisis. And so she called on these countries to increase their spending, But I just thought that was interesting, and it kind of, it feels like it goes in line with what he's saying. Then there was this morning. This is from Judy Shelton. U.S. weighs currency pact with China as a part of partial deal. And then Tony Valentino replies, drop USD as international reserves and replace with XRP. Need a pact with China to ensure the Chinese don't try to wrestle power away from the West by backing currency with gold during the transition. Some interesting economic things floating around. And then he sends, it's like the Tony Valentino show. Create new money without causing hyperinflation by pumping a new asset like XRP to $1,000. XRP bailouts have all been delivered to the top big fail institutions. The rest of the horde will soon get the signal to start buying whatever is left on the open market. Now, this is what Alex Cobb's tweet, I'm not saying Alex Cobb was saying this is what's going on, but his tweet was, okay, now Ripple has announced that they're going to stop, they're going to slow down the over-the-counter things, and is that now a signal that all these some of these institutions can go in and start buying on the retail markets? But he says XRP bailouts have all been delivered to the top too big to fail institutions. The rest of the horde will soon get the signal to start buying whatever's left in the open market. And he's retweeting this. German Finance Minister Scholz speaks in Luxembourg. Scholz, in crisis, we would need a lot of money. Now, remember, what this reminds me of, does anybody remember the picture of Chris Larsen meeting with the Minister of Finance of Luxembourg? I do. Okay, moving along. Heisen Zerp sent me this. Grayscale, institutional interest in crypto doubles in Q2. See, everybody's looking at these lethargic markets and they think that interest is waning. It's just the opposite. A senior executive at cryptocurrency asset management giant Grayscale has stated that the institutional investors are constantly piling into the space in 2019. Speaking at an interview with The Block, the director, he says, it's been consistent while growing throughout this year. You know, it's really funny. I get asked this a lot. There's this rhetoric in the media about when are institutional investors going to get involved? When are they going to start investing? And it's so funny because it's ironic. We see institutional investors invest with us all the time. And that's been the case for a long time now. So there you go, folks. And then from XRP Crypto Wolf, Binance DEX will list XRP BF2, XRP and open trading for an XRP BNB trading pair at 2019. XRP BF2 is pegged by real XRP assets, and Binance will provide conversion between XRP and XRP BF2 through deposit withdrawal. CZ Binance, from the CEO of Binance, came in and said a small step for XRP, a giant leap for Binance DEX. XRP pegged on chain 100% reserve. Same symbol, not XRPB, just XRP. Withdraw XRP directly from Binance.com. Choose native or BEP2 version. 1-to-1, no slippage. Trade non-custodian on Binance DEX. Simple. Adoption, folks. Digital Asset Conductor sent me this. This is interesting from XRP Astra. Well. Would you look at that? Now, we've been seeing in the news from Japan about this digital trade agreement. This is a fact sheet on digital trade in Japan. Now, looky here. Let's open this image in a new tab. Get a zoom in. Ensuring companies' effective use of crypto technologies and protecting innovation for commercial products that use cryptography. consistent with applicable law. This is in the Japanese law or the trade agreement. Nice. BondCrypt XRP at BondCrypt. There we go. So it starts. Major German co-op bank passes negative interest rates to customers. Berliner Volksbank is one of the largest German cooperative banks, applies a minus 0.5% rate on deposits exceeding 100,000 euros last week. Meanwhile, we're seeing interest rates on digital assets. I saw one this morning from Uphold, and I think Cred Earn is who they use. It was like 10% interest on your XRP. Craziness. And then Lord Lionel sent me this. This is from the Six Group. This is apparently they put out a publication over there, and I just wanted to briefly show you a couple of the highlights. Remember, they're over in Switzerland. They're the ones that put out that Crypto Fund AG. Crypto assets, or how to link the old world with the new. And I want to show you their two top articles, how to link the old world with the new, and then Liechtenstein's Blockchain Act. Switzerland and Liechtenstein, those two places, keep them at the forefront of your mind, because these people are smart. They know how to attract the most money in the world. They've been doing it for decades and decades and decades. And for that reason, all eyes on Switzerland and Liechtenstein, because whatever they're doing is where the money is going to flow. They would not be leading up the charge into digital assets if they did not know that it was going to attract the billions and then eventually trillions of dollars. Okay, that's why they're doing it. They know. Okay, the Crypto Man at Crypto Man. I thought this was great. Heads or tails, these new XRP coins are currently en route to me and will be available for sale within the next week. Only 100 will be available. Will you be one of the 100 people to own one? I want to buy one. I'd like to get one of those. I think that is really cool. It's got a picture. Look at David Schwartz. You can flip a coin and get heads as David Schwartz. I want one, so hopefully I can go on and order one for myself. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that I want a Joel Katz XRP coin. Thank you for listening.